Good morning, everybody. How are you? I am here from Sedona. I am Julie Murphy, and I wrote a book called Awaken Your Wealth. And money is actually the result of everything else in your life. And this is why I've started this awakening series. But if you want to get a jump start, go to my website, juliemurphy.com, because I will be giving away a free book to anyone who goes on there in the next couple weeks. So it's about building your wealth from the inside out. And this is why I've started this awakening series. And today we're having 𝙤𝙬 because he is the one who can help you align with your soul and align with who you are and where you're not aligned in your life so that we can start to get you in alignment so that you stop suffering in your life. And because we work things out or we act it out, we do it through our health or through our money or our relationships. And we don't need to do that anymore when you're actually aligned with your heart and your soul. So, David, tell everybody about yourself.
Hi, everybody. Well, as you can tell, Julie is in Sedona. That is my hometown. And I've been working with helping people raise their vibrational level, connect into their heart, connect into their soul, and be able to access levels of love within themselves that bring you into states of joy, bring you into states of crystal clarity, and also help you to access your innate divine knowing and wisdom through your heart. Yeah, so.
Absolutely. And so, what I would love for us to do as we start our morning here today, especially because I wanted to share the sunrise of Sedona with everybody today. I am here at one of the energy vortexes in Sedona, Bell and Courthouse. So they're on both sides of me here. And so I thought we would start with doing our meditation and energy work. What do you think about that, David?
I think it's great. And
Awesome.
yes, and so for those of you who have not been to Sedona, we do have very powerful vortexes here at various places around this town and city, and each of those vortexes kind of has their own flavor and their own vibration. So I'm going to take you into a guided meditation, and part of this is about going into a vibrational shift. So you may feel as you're going into this, really doesn't matter what the images are or so much what is said. What we're looking for here is for you to open your heart to feel a flow of energy coming in that's uplifting, kind of preparing you to then experience this talk and everything from a very uplifted place. So what I would like you to do is go into your heart or into your center. I know some of you are meditators, for others it may be kind of new, but just go into your center, go into your core, and I'm going to take you on this vibrational and guided meditation. You can't do it wrong, okay? So however it works for you, you're doing it perfectly, so don't worry about that. So we're going to go in now, and I'd like you to imagine yourself in a pyramid of 24 karat golden lights. So this is a really big pyramid, like the Pyramid of Giza or the Pyramid of the Central Sun. And I'd like you to step into that pyramid, and at the base of the pyramid are 3 circles of light, 13 pointed stars, 13 dream weavers, and 13 mama dragons. And I'd like you to feel a force of light coming at the base of this pyramid of 24 karat golden light into your toes. Feel it flowing into your arches, your heels. Feel that golden plasma light flowing into your legs as it moves up your legs. Feel it flowing into your hips, and feel it coming to the base of your spine. And as it goes into the base of your spine, I want you to imagine and feel a radiant sun, a central sun, just feeling the radiance of that energy at the base of your spine. And we're going to start moving that golden light up your spine. And when we get to your heart center, again, I want you to imagine another central sun this time feeling the explosion of light, the radiance of your heart, the radiance of your love. And, and as you feel that connection, oftentimes, if you have children, you just kind of go into really how much you love them unconditionally, and feel that connection of the heart, the energy flowing. And we're going to continue moving that golden light then up your spine. Feel it flowing into your shoulders, your upper arms, your lower arms. Feel it flowing into your hands, your fingers. Feel it flowing out your palms. Perfect. And I'm going to have you now bring your attention to your brain stem. And we're going to place a central sun in the brain stem, okay? So again, feeling that sun, feeling that radiance, feeling the energy. And I'd like you to feel that energy, that light moving through your entire body. It's just like activating all the atoms and all the cells, and just feeling everything just kind of, really buzzing, just like really feeling your whole body coming alive with light, with energy. And so what we're going to do is we're going to connect that sun at the base of your spine to the sun at the base of your brainstem through what is called a toric field of light. And a toric field is it's kind of like a figure eight. So it's like we're connecting the energy at the base of the spine. It's going to go through the heart up to the brainstem, and then back down through the heart into the base. So it's this figure eight of energy that's going to just continually be cycling and moving through this whole guided meditation. And I want you to come back to the central sun at your brainstem. I'd like you to really feel the radiance of that energy. Feel it activating the neurons in your brain. Feel your brain just starting to really connect and switch on, coming alive. Just feel that the radiance of that sun is really activating the radiance of the neurons of the brain. And we're going to activate your some of your glands. That we're going to activate your thymus, your hypothalamus, your pituitary, and your pineal gland. And the pineal gland is really in the center of the brain. And it's, as we activate the pineal gland, it's the gland that connects you to all the higher levels of your consciousness. So again, we're going to just put a radiant central sun in the pineal gland. And I want you to feel just a radiant sun in the very center of your brain, just really activating everything. And we're going to expand that from global to galactic, and from galactic to interdimensional. And we're going to switch on your connections to the multiverse. So this is where you're connected to universal energy, universal consciousness, in other dimensions, and into even galactic levels. And at this point, I'd like you to start to spiral out your third eye, out the crown, out the apex of the pyramid. You'll be traveling as plasma light through the galactic corridor. So you're traveling through this galactic corridor now as light in form, traveling as plasma light in form. And we're going to merge the plasma of your blood with the plasma of the central sun. And I want you to feel the fusion of that energy, and just feel that in the blood. Feel it throughout your physical body, just the radiance of that light flowing through your whole physicality. And we're going to continue with that as we're going through this galactic corridor and through this galactic gateway. And as we come through the galactic gateway, I want you to experience yourself in the presence of a tremendous kaleidoscope, a cosmic or galactic kaleidoscope of beautiful fractal light. And notice that as you're watching this kaleidoscope, that it's moving in a spiral direction, in a clockwise direction, and it's pulling you into the very center. And in the very center is what I call an oculus or an eye, also kind of the central sun. And just feel yourself being pulled into that and into those beautiful fractals of light, just going into like prisms of light. And as you're going into these prisms of light, I want you to release any and all thought, any and all emotion. If there's anything that is on your mind or that's kind of bothering you, I want you to start releasing all that energy into these fractals of light or into this kaleidoscope of light. And we're going to just, as you're releasing that, I want you to feel how that light can literally transform any negative emotion and clear it. So you're just moving into clearing and reconfiguring your energy field, reconfiguring your emotional body, your mental body. There you go. And connecting into your spiritual body and feeling, as we're moving into this light, I want you to feel an energy of love and also an energy of flow, that everything is just effortlessly starting to flow and connect. We're moving into a space of allowing and connectedness. And notice as you're in this energy, this light energy of flowing and connectedness, how connected it is to your heart. And feel yourself just totally relaxing, perhaps taking some deep breaths and really connecting into your inner being. Feel yourself getting very centered in that inner being. And just ask that inner being or that presence that is within you to guide and direct your day and guide and direct the energy that you're going to be working with during our class here. Just feel yourself getting really, really centered and moving into a real flow of love. Just releasing anything and everything that has been distracting you into these fractals of light. There we go. And I think we're at a place where we can now open it to some discussion as we flow. And Julie, how you doing?
Absolutely. I'm in the flow and I'm feeling lots of love. You know, it's really important. And I don't think we realize how important it is for us to get to a place of inner peace and interconnectedness. There's so much these days that are outward focus than inward focus. And you could pick the topic, right? You could pick the topic of politics, masks, schooling, right? We have so much upheaval going on in our society today that, and it's not that we shouldn't care about those things, because I am an A-type personality person, and I very much so, go out there and, go make it happen in my life. But if it's not coming from an inner directive, this is where the problem is. And I don't even want to say problem. I want to say that this is where we've operated from, because we as a society have thought that that was a better version per se. But all the old sages and all the old traditions, they all knew that it came from an inner directive.
So Julie,
And
I asked you, how do you know when the difference between an inner directive and an outer directive? How do you distinguish that?
it's about going against what you know to be true in your heart. So if you are there and you're pausing, then you know it's not in alignment. You know, if you're sitting there and you are um, projecting, so you're blaming or you're pushing out, um, you're triggered, you're emotionally triggered by somebody else, then that means that it's not coming from your inner side. It's because you're being asked to do something that's not in alignment with yourself, or to think a certain way and it's not in alignment with yourself. And we think it's so often about the other people, and it's actually about us not following our own inner directive. And what I have come to learn is that, you know, when we keep the jobs that we have that don't make us giggle, people go, how do I have a job? Like, it's become so common to not do your work in the world and get a paycheck and not enjoy it. Like, it's just like, oh, you got to hit the grind. Like, there's so many people that are in suffering patterns around their work life, which is why, you know, starting October 7th, we're going to start a whole series on Wednesdays at 11 a.m. Central about awaken your work life, because this is where people are suffering in a big way, because a job may have satisfied you for a long time, but if it's not, like, maybe it's serving you from a paycheck perspective, but it's not serving you in other areas in your life, and at some juncture that will blow up. And I've watched it happen so many times. Either you're let go, not by your choice, or there's, you know, downsizing and you're shifted somewhere else, or you're not getting pay raises and bonuses you want, or a health crisis happens and you have to shift. And so all these things are signs that you're not living in inner directive, or you're letting your kid keep their credit card too long, and you're financially being drained by family and friends, and because you're not doing what's right first and foremost for you, and then helping other people. And that's not a bad thing. You know, I grew up Irish Catholic, and guess what? It was all about you do it for everybody else before yourself. And I have come to learn that that is opposite of actually take care of yourself while you're helping other people. Like, why does it have to be one in front of the other?
Mhm.
So this is what I'm talking about when I talk about inner wealth, and getting to a place of sustainability in our lives where it's not something that's going to drag us down.
Mhm.
Any thoughts on that?
Well, I was thinking about, um, it's about weaving. So you go, all right, well, we do this energy work, and how does that help my daily life? And so part of that is connecting into an inner part of yourself, an inner being, okay? And that inner self that is connected to your heart, and that when you really start connecting into the heart, you start connecting into a place of knowing. So I've mentioned this before, but I'm going to mention it again because it's so important, is that um, there was a study done through heart math that the heart has its own intelligence, its own brain. And and as you can connect into that inner knowing, and if you want to go a little further with that, you can call it presence. That there is, in the stillness of your being, there is a part of you that is connected to source and connected to wisdom and to knowing. And for most of us, we're so distracted by our lives that we never are able to connect into that level of our being. And it's kind of tragic to miss that, because you have so many resources within you, and you have this presence within you that when we can get you quiet enough and get your heart open, that you can start receiving this knowing and receiving this information to
Well, and
help.
I will say, you know, being highly educated and I process everything through my brain, right? Anyone who I've worked with, including yourself, has always shared with me that, Jewel, we got to circumvent your brain because we've been trained to go to our brains, reason everything out, and then go from there. And it's been interesting. Like, I have been trying to learn the language of my own heart. And like, I'm grateful for the person that I'm dating right now because he's like, well, what's your heart desire? And I'm like, what's my heart desire? I don't even know what that is. And it's like, because I've always provided for everybody else. I'm the second oldest of 12 children. I know I'm a business owner. I take care of my employees. I had my ex-husband was an at-home dad and I took care of the family. Like, I don't even know how to, let me rephrase that. I did not know how to follow my own heart's desires. And I've come to learn that the more I do, which is at odds with other people because then they get upset that you don't show up for them in that way. But I'm super happy. And I've lost weight and everyone tells me I look 10 years younger. And it's like, because I'm following my own heart and my own soul. And so it's almost a language, almost like a foreign language that you almost need to learn how to actually listen to because we've not listened to our own hearts because we've been providers and protectors and, you know, name the list, right? Because of this reasoning and doing it from our minds and not from our hearts.
So, Julie, how do you know? Explain to people how you know the difference between when you're in your heart and when you're in your head.
So, um, real simple. And everybody laughs at me that I say this. And I'm like, does it make you giggle? And if it doesn't make you giggle, like people will go, does it make me giggle? And then they start thinking about like, does it make them giggle or not? It's like, well, then you're in your brain. It doesn't make you giggle. And it's like, one of the things I've learned is that we have to keep it simple and we have to keep it like, it's not rocket science, but it's something that we've ignored. And it's something that actually is creating disease in our body. And it's creating all the levels of debt that we have. And it's creating these relationships that are based on family patterns and attachments and limiting beliefs that aren't really in alignment with true love. And so it's just about, does it make you giggle? And then it's in alignment with your heart. And if you have to think about it, if it makes you giggle or not, it's not. Like, you don't really necessarily have to think about it any further, except for the fact that it doesn't. And so for women, it's the giggle. For men, it's that shit ass grin on their face. Men don't necessarily giggle, but it's just like you get that smirk. You know, guys just like, oh, I can't do it as good as a guy, but I've seen plenty of them as I'm working with clients.
So, it's like, it's kind of like a day when maybe you don't have the day well planned, but you just start out and you're feeling good, and one thing starts leading to another, and so there's kind of this energy of flow and this energy
Right.
of synchronicity, and this kind of allowing things to move and flow without trying to control things so much. And so there's part of ultimately mastery of learning how to move in this world is to be able to go from our regular consciousness, a regular brain function, of organizing and figuring stuff out. And then, so what that does is that it creates structure. But then once you have structure, within that structure, allow flow so that you don't miss out on the incredible serendipity and magic that can happen and the creative flow that can happen in your life and in your business. Right?
Yeah, I don't disagree whatsoever. I mean, that's how people are like, well, how did you do 2 books, get your MBA, have 4 kids, run a business? Well, when you follow your heart, it actually flows super easy. Like, I remember my recent book, Awaken Your Wealth, came into being because I was at a business meeting. It was out in California. And something told me, between this meeting, it was like a 45-minute break. I went back to my room and just wanted to sit on the balcony in my room. And so I sat there, and all of a sudden I was like, oh, all of a sudden I got all of these ideas. And I was like, by the time that 45 minutes was up, I had the entire outline of the book Awaken Your Wealth out on paper. And it was just because it just flowed and it was just easy. And it was like, oh, I understand what I'm supposed to put out in the world. Got it. Okay. Perfect. And that when it's that easy and time flies by, that means you're in the flow, you're in presence, you're in the now. And again, not easy to do when you have a to-do list, but let me tell you, every single one of you is going to die with a to-do list. We're never going to be finished with our to-do list, ever. So it's like, if something makes you giggle, you have to trust that everything is going to still turn out. I had no idea how I was going to get on the other side of my divorce, but I just kept following the next right step, and I followed my giggle. Even though I wound up spending $600,000 in 11 months because of everything that came at me in my divorce process. And from forensic auditors to kids' attorney teams for my children, and attorney teams on my side and his side. And it was like, what the hell just happened? It was all because I followed my heart, and then it was like, it exploded. But it all worked out because I just kept following my heart. I just kept following my heart. And everyone's better off for it these days. And yes, it was a lot of turmoil, but I got to tell you, I've lost 45 pounds and I feel great. And I'm loving life, and I'm doing my morning meetings in Sedona. And because I can, because I have 50% parenting time, at this juncture. So it's really interesting how life flows when you align with your heart. And people always think that if they stay in those relationships and if they stay at those jobs, that it's to hit an end goal. And I can't tell you how many people who have ignored their personal relationships and they've built and amassed all this wealth. So by society standards, they look wealthy. And then they split their actual dollars in half because they're getting divorced because they're not happy. And then the job isn't as satisfying because it's for different reasons today than it was yesterday. And that's not creating a place of what I call sustainable real wealth. And that's what I think is really important for us to start to really get our arms around, which is why we want to do these sessions to help people align more with their heart and their soul.
Right. So I'm going to bring up something else that might sound, but Julie and I were at a bookstore here in Sedona, and we were looking at candles, and she said, I think you should buy a money candle. And I was like, what is that? And so we bought this candle that had this money thing on it, and it was red, beautiful. And I brought it home and I lit it, and it's like, it's kind of interesting to create an altar. And what I mean by an altar is a space where you can put things or that allow you to focus your love and focus your intent, to where even if you don't have a whole lot of time, you just kind of look at your little altar space and go, oh yes, that's what's important to me. That's what nourishes my heart. It's what nourishes my soul. And those can kind of be really fun. Do you have any comments on that, Julie?
Yeah, it's funny. I have a table in my bedroom that currently has a picture of my 4 kids on it and a candle for each one of them. And it's funny, different candles can align with your chakras, so your 7 chakras, and each one, I knew that my oldest needed lots of healing because he felt the most through the divorce process. So I have a healing candle for him, and then I have a candle for my 9-year-old, happiness, because she's kind of gotten a little sad and angry through the whole process. So for her to tap into more happiness. And then my third, Mary Kate, I have hers, is that she needs protection because she kind of lets people just roll over her and she negotiates herself away. And my young guy, love, that he just needs more love. He's still 5. He doesn't know anything else besides a divorced household because it started happening when he was 2. And so it's really interesting in how, when they're not with me, I light those candles so that, I know what's going on when they're with me. I don't know what's going on when they're not with me. And so this is my little altar space that I just kind of, send out some love and good energy to them. And the altar has changed over time. That just happens to be what's on there today. um and and I know it'll change again, so. But yeah, it's a place of remembrance of the things that are in alignment with my heart,
Mm-hmm.
and continuing to bring love and light to that. I think that's the purpose of the candles to me, that it brings light to that aspect of my life that I want to flourish, that I want to grow. And because so often, we ignore certain parts of our lives because we're told that, oh, but you got to focus here, here, and here. And I think, I got to say, there's not a lot of positive stuff that's going on because of the pandemic, but I got to tell you, that's been the best part. That the best part of this whole pandemic and shelter at home has been the fact that the distractions were gone. We had to face everything that's been going on in our lives. Like, you're stuck at home in your family and you're seeing exactly what's going on in your family dynamics. It's in your face, you know? You're unplugged from work and you're like, oh, do I feel so good now that I'm not at the office? Well, why do you want to go back to that office then if you get that much relief from not being there? Right? Like, people are starting to, I have so many clients that are moving out of state, that are changing jobs, because I'm like, jump off the ledge, let's go, because they've known for a long time these things were not in alignment with themselves. And this just gave the opportunity to really, like, I have people going, okay, I want to move right now before the next wave comes so that I can get to the place where I'm really happy, because I do not want to stay where I was because I was not happy. And I'm like going, let's do it. Here's how we do it. Boom, 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 boom. And they're all in transition right now. And it's absolutely beautiful, because when there's a dream, there's always a way. And sometimes you just have to walk across that bridge one step at a time and just take that next right step. I had someone tell me yesterday, yeah, Jewel, but I got to tell you, it's such small steps. I feel like, I go, yeah, but you're telling the universe that, hey, or God, depending on what your belief system is, I want to go this way. And I'm going to keep taking steps so that I don't keep going down this path, but I only go this path. Because here's what I know. If you continue to, if this is your soul path and you continue to take a path over here and you deviate from that, that is the bigger the V, the bigger the life crisis is going to hit you at some point in your life. Because the only option is to align with your heart and soul, or you will be given crises in your life to smack you back onto that road of what your soul came here to do and be, whatever that is. So I find it all super interesting. I know that was probably a long answer to my altar, but it's what came in.
So it's really, really what we're talking about is then starting to focus some intent or intention in the direction you want to go. And oftentimes you go, well, I want to accomplish this, or I want to move in this direction, but I don't know how to do that, and I think it's really powerful that, oftentimes when we kind of focus our intention and then, just inwardly ask and as you create a relationship with your heart, maybe with your soul, and whatever you work with to connect into your higher levels, of a little going, this is what I want to do, and I have no idea how to do it. Please give me, let something manifest to guide me in the direction that I want to go.
Well, and I think it's as simple as just say, what does my heart want today?
Mm-hmm.
What does my heart want today? And it was interesting. Like, I had an example yesterday when my boyfriend said to me, well, what does your heart want this morning? And it's like, I was like asking him all these questions of what do you want? Blah, blah, blah. And it was because when he was bringing things up, they were not in alignment with me. And then all of a sudden I realized, oh, I just want to hike by myself. I don't want to hike with anybody. I just needed to be in my own energy, in my own space. And I just wanted to get to the path of least resistance to get there. But I didn't even realize that that's what it was in the moment. It was later on when I was taking a shower and I was going, what was all that about? And it was like, this is where we're not really, as a society, aligned with what our heart wants. And this is what's very, very important at this time, because otherwise the lessons will continue to keep happening.
Right. And if you don't make those choices will be made for you.
There is no doubt. I can give example after example of that.
Right.
You know, I have a client who gave 27 years to this one firm, and she was ready to be partner. She was being called into the office with the partners, and she was ready to become partner of this accounting firm. And then she walked in and they said, unless you have a severe shift in your personality, you're never going to be partner here. So we actually have decided to let you go. This woman spent her 20s and her 30s just, everything was this job. Everything, like, she didn't date, she didn't do anything. She just gave her heart and soul. So now she's got a shitload of money, but she's ignored every other aspect of her life. And they told her if she doesn't have a severe shift in her personality, she's going to never be partner. It's like, but that's what she was working towards. It's like, that's like an empty bag at Halloween with no candy in it. And you're like, oh, you know, so life will bring you those lessons, because she knew for a long time she didn't resonate with any of those people there.
Mm-hmm.
But she was trying to prove, she had this not enough button that she was trying to prove that she was enough. And that had to do with her relationship with her dad. So we do ignore our own hearts because we're trying to like prove something to other people because of our conditioning from our own childhoods. And so this is where, you know, really digging deep and getting to that place of inner wealth is super important. You know?
Yes. And, you know, it's like when we can really connect into that inner wealth, then there's joy in our lives and there's peace in our lives. And the creative forces within us bubble up, and we want to start really enjoying our time here on the planet, and you know, opening up parts of levels of ourselves where we can literally go out and play in the universe for a while.
So, David, what I found is that a lot of people sometimes need coaches on the side. So, how would somebody get a hold of you to actually, because I believe that sometimes you just need someone to help you. And, you know, when you shift the energy, you shift your life. So, how does someone get a hold of you to, if they want to do some one on one work?
You know, they can go to my website, which is Michael Ghillardy, it's GILARDY.com. And so you can reach me there. And a lot of times, you know, I just start working with somebody. We just kind of do one appointment, one session, kind of take you through a process. And when I'm working with one person, I can really focus on them. And then you just feel into it, see if that's something that feels right to you or not, you know, and see if that feeds your soul. And you know, and sometimes people go, yep, this is right for me, I want to continue with this. And we just, you know, I let people kind of just move through this evolution of their consciousness of awakening and connecting to themselves, connecting to their souls, um, and expanding your life and reevaluating probably a lot of things that you don't even think about. And I often tell, you know, I'll just quickly say that, you know, from the time we're born and we're out the chute, we're being told who we are. Our families are telling us who we are, who our people are, what our belief systems are, and being in a life where we're in polarity, so things are good or bad. We start making a story of our life that this is good, that's bad, and what happens is that story becomes very defined, and we get trapped in our story. And every time we have a big emotional upheaval, we'll go right back into the story and look into the past to see how we're going to project our future. So, you know, part of that's like waking up out of that story and rather than and going, what do I choose now at this time in my life? Where am I and what's true for me? And awakening to that and making conscious choices today rather than choices that were made when we were very, very young, and that we're living in a very unconscious way even today, that's driving our lives. So that's kind of a really important thing to look at, and it's something that I'm really good at helping people with, if that sounds interesting to you.
Yeah, and everyone just know that David and I are going to start doing even group sessions, because even if you're not up for one-on-one, doing group sessions and really digging into the energy work. So look for that. You know, if you go to juliemurphy.com and you just give us your email address, then you'll be alerted when it is that we'll be doing these. They will be paid sessions because they'll be a lot more intense with the energy work that we're going to do behind them. And just want to let you guys know that that's all coming. And as you can see, the sun is beautifully rising here in Sedona, and we're about at our time today. So I want to thank everybody for joining us today, and I hope you have the best day ever. And thank you, David. So grateful for all your talents and gifts into the world.
Well, and I just love doing this, and I just send a whole bunch of energy to everybody to have a beautiful day, a radiant day. And you know, this is like the first day of the rest of your life. You can make choices today, have defining moments that are going to really project into your future. So I just want to leave everybody with an uplifted feeling of all is truly well. So be it.
Beautiful. Thanks, everybody. Talk to you
Bye-bye.
soon. Bye.